Today, a clean shave can only take a couple of minutes. Hot water from a tap, a cartridge razor with 5 blades, maybe a can of foam that smells like mint. But strip all of that away. No plumbing, no steel that bends to your hand, no mirror bright enough to trust. Now put a blade against your throat. For anyone who chose to shave, the basic problem was the same. How do you put a sharp edge against your skin without cutting yourself? So how did people actually survive this? And why, despite the danger, did they keep doing it?
Shaving is one of those habits we rarely think about. It feels modern, almost trivial. But the truth is stranger and older than most people realize. Thousands of years ago, people were already using specially made blades to remove hair from their bodies. This wasn't vanity. In many early societies, a smooth face meant something. It could signal status, cleanliness, religious devotion, or even the ability to wear a helmet in battle without hair catching in the strap. Which raises the real question at the heart of this story. If the tools were this crude, how did anyone shave without cutting themselves apart? How they did it. The earliest shaving tools looked nothing like the razors we recognize today. They were products of ingenuity, shaped from whatever materials and technology a community had available.
But the basic challenge stayed remarkably consistent across centuries. How do you use a sharp blade without cutting the skin? Warm water, oil, or steam would soften the skin first. Then the blade, held at a shallow angle, was drawn across in short, careful strokes. Wipe the blade clean, sharpen it again, repeat. Simple to describe, far harder to do without drawing blood. In ancient Egypt, metal razors were already in use thousands of years ago. Priests in ancient Egypt were expected to maintain strict standards of bodily cleanliness, and shaving played a role in that practice. For them, the razor wasn't just a grooming tool, it was part of a sacred ritual. In Greece and Rome, things shifted. In parts of Greece and Rome, preferences for a clean-shaven face became tied to changing ideas of appearance, status, and masculinity. Roman barbershops, called tonstrenae, became social hubs, a place to talk, gossip, and watch the life of the city pass by. Men gathered there while a barber worked an iron blade across their skin, using water, oil, and simple grooming preparations to soften the hair. There was no shaving cream like the kind we use today. Often, mirrors existed, but they did not provide the clear reflection we take for granted today. Just polished bronze, which gave a dim, wavy reflection at best. Over the centuries, folding and straight-bladed razors became more refined, eventually becoming the standard tools barbers used. Barbers became essential members of every town, and in a strange twist of history, they didn't just cut hair, they pulled teeth, they performed bloodletting. In many places, these procedures were simply part of the barber's trade, putting them surprisingly close to medical work. Think about that for a moment. The same hands trimming your beard might also be treating your fever. Now, picture actually sitting in that chair. The blade is sharp but inconsistent. A razor's edge depended on the quality of the metal and the skill of the person maintaining it, and a poorly forged or poorly kept blade could tear at the skin instead of gliding across it. There was no antiseptic. A small nick could become infected, and infection, in an age before antibiotics, could turn deadly. Barbers had to sharpen their blades constantly, using a leather strop and a whetstone, honing an edge good enough to trust against another person's throat. And there was no rinse and repeat convenience. Hot water had to be heated over a fire. Soap, when available, was harsh and often made from animal fat and ash, nothing like the gentle lather we use today. For most ordinary people, a proper shave was a luxury. Many ordinary people could go much longer between shaves, depending on their work, culture, and personal preference, using dull blades, cold water, and sheer willpower. Some simply plucked hair out with crude tweezers, a method so painful it's almost hard to imagine enduring it regularly. Women, too, faced their own quiet struggles with body hair, especially as beauty standards shifted across centuries. Some historical depilatories used harsh chemicals, including lime-based preparations, which could badly irritate or damage the skin when misused. It's easy to forget just how dangerous ordinary grooming once was.
Solutions and survival. Still, people found ways to make it work. Communities developed real expertise. A skilled barber was trusted because his steady hand could mean the difference between a clean shave and a serious wound. Techniques were passed down like sacred knowledge. Soften the skin first with warm water or oil. Keep the blade at the correct angle, never too steep, never too flat. Control the stroke and never rush. Some cultures developed remarkably clever alternatives. In parts of Asia, pumice stones were used to gently buff away hair. In India, thread was skillfully twisted and pulled across the skin in a method called threading, a technique that is still widely practiced today.
As steel making improved in Europe, razor makers were able to produce blades that held their edges more reliably. This was a quiet revolution. Suddenly, a smoother, safer shave was possible for more people, not just the wealthy. Then, at the turn of the 20th century, King Camp Gillette introduced something that would change everything: the disposable safety razor. In 1901, Gillette patented the concept. Production began in 1903. And in 1904, he secured the key U.S. patents that helped establish the disposable blade system we still recognize today.
For the first time, shaving at home became much easier without requiring the same skill needed to handle a traditional straight razor. A thin, replaceable blade sat protected behind a metal guard, and shaving at home became far more practical for ordinary consumers. It's strange to think that something so small reshaped a daily ritual practiced since prehistory.
Reflection. Perhaps the most surprising thing about this story isn't the danger, it's the trust. For thousands of years, people placed a sharpened blade against their own throat or let another person do it for them, all in pursuit of something as simple as looking clean. What feels uncomfortable to us today, sitting still while a stranger holds a blade to your neck, was completely normal to them. It was routine, it was community, it was even, in its own way, intimate. The people of the past were not careless, and they were certainly not foolish. They simply solved problems with the tools available to them, refining their methods generation after generation until something as small as a shave became an art form. Conclusion. So the next time you reach for a razor without thinking twice, remember what that motion represents. Thousands of years of trial, error, injury, and innovation, all compressed into a few effortless seconds. If you had lived back then, sitting in that barber's chair with nothing but firelight and a steady hand between you and a serious wound, do you think you could have kept calm? Would you have trusted a stranger with a blade at your throat? And after everything you've just heard, could you have handled even 1 week living like this? Let us know what surprised you the most.